time throng. Give my regards to old Broadway and say that I'll be there ere long.
Well, hello, darling. I'm just returning from a screen test. Actually, I was not being screen tested, and I haven't been on Broadway lately, but I am here in Appleton, Wisconsin, in my doll room, and I shoot for the stars in my doll collecting. And today I'm going to share with you some celebrities, entertainers, who were so talented, so gifted, and so popular that dolls were made in their likenesses. So the first dolls we're going to start with today are the Sonja Henie dolls. And I like to get different props to display with my dolls. So here's the Sonja Henie coloring book. I love the vivid colors. And I have some stars of my doll collection, some Sonja Henie dolls here to share with you. And I did notice while preparing for this presentation that some of my dolls need restringing, so we will tackle that in the near future. This first doll is Sonja Henie, made by the Madame Alexander Company. And Sonja Henie was a skater born in 1912 in Norway. And she was a star in skating. She won 3 Olympic medals and 10 world championships. Later, she became a star in the entertainment world. And I just love composition dolls. I know those can be tricky to collect because of the climate concerns and the cracking and crazing. And this girl is not perfect. She has a little owie on her leg, but I just love her face, her curls, her all original outfit. She even has the hang tag here. Says Sonja Henie, a Madame Alexander product. I even have the original box for this girl. So despite the cracking on her legs a little bit, I consider her one of the stars of my doll collection. The second Sonja is redressed, but I kind of like her outfit. I love dolls in red, so I have her in my collection despite the fact that she has a non-original outfit. This Sonja I probably bought about 25 years ago in an antique mall. She is all original with the original hair accessory here, her velvet gown, and her gold skates. And she's an interesting doll. When I purchased her, her outfit was really soiled. And as you know, in doll collecting, you have to be very careful with vintage clothes. And I found an elderly man in Manitowoc, Wisconsin, who had a dry cleaning business. And he dry cleaned clothes the way they did years and years ago. So he was willing to dry clean this outfit for me. And I think it turned out pretty nicely. There is some fading, but I'm fading too as I age. So Sonja's outfit here has a little bit of fading, but she is still a big star in my doll collection. Next off, let's talk about the Shirley Temple dolls. Now, Shirley Temple was an amazing young girl. She hated her curls. She was once asked by Eleanor Roosevelt to go swimming, and as a little girl, she refused because she was worried that her hair was going to look silly after the experience. Shirley was filmed more than Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And she had kind of an interesting beginning. One of her first roles was at the age of 4. She starred in something called Baby Burlesque, where she was dressed in very sexy clothing and asked to flirt with some 4-year-old boys. But despite that beginning and how much Shirley worked as a young girl and teenager, she really was very successful in her life. She planned the entire inauguration for Jimmy Carter, and George W. Bush appointed her as the ambassador to Czechoslovakia. So let's look at a few of my Shirley Temple dolls. This doll is one of my favorites. She is a flirty-eyed doll. I love dolls who have flirty eyes. the open mouth and teeth, the curly hair, and the original bowl. She is dressed in her original dress. Her shoes are replacements. I'm not sure about her socks. But she is in nice shape for being a doll that was patented in 1934 by the Ideal Company. And I got her from an elderly man whose wife had passed away, and this was her pride and joy. She had received this doll as a child. She didn't have any children, so the doll wasn't played with. And seriously, the man had tears in his eyes when he found out I was going to treasure his wife's doll, and she was going to be a big star in my doll room. I love composition dolls, so here's another composition example. And her eyes aren't perfect. I make it a rule not to buy dolls with crackled eyes, but this girl I just could not resist. She is a makeup Shirley where there's some eyeshadow on her, and those makeup Shirleys were made by Ideal a little later in the Shirley process. She does have a rare dress. Again, her shoes and socks are not original. I have to start looking for more vintage shoes and socks. And I really like her. She even retains this lilac big bow in her hair. Again, not perfect, but I consider her a star in my doll collection anyway. Ideal also made vinyl dolls. I don't collect a lot of vinyl dolls, but this vinyl doll a friend of mine had when I was a little girl, and it was displayed in her bedroom. And even though these Shirley dolls were made in the late 50s, even though I'm a little younger than that, but not much, I loved this girlfriend Shirley, so I did add some vinyl Shirleys to my collection as it grew. And here we have the first one that's a little taller. And then these two are just, I have the boxes for these. They were mint in box when I purchased them. The cellophane still around their faces. And I know you're not supposed to collect dolls in red because the red can bleed onto the doll's body, but I really love dolls in red. And these dolls are all original. They have their hang tag, all original shoes, socks, clothing. So some really delightful dolls that I have in my collection. I also am going to point up there, and my wonderful husband, the cameraman, is going to show a few more composition dolls, Shirley dolls that I have in my collection. And the one in green has her original trunk, and so I just love Shirley Temple dolls. I seem to be acquiring more of late. So those are the Ideal Shirley Temple dolls. The next star in my collection is this girl. She's by Madame Alexander, and this doll is made in the likeness of Margaret O'Brien. Margaret O'Brien was a child star also. Interesting gal. She starred as a 9-year-old in the movie Karen Ballerina. And there were 3 girls in it, Margaret and 2 other little actresses. And Margaret was the only one that worked with a Russian ballet teacher for 9 months to learn ballet so that she could perform. The other girls had understudies, or not understudies, but doubles. So Margaret was a hard worker. She also, if you're ever looking for a treasure, you are hunting for something, I know I am, I'll talk about that when I get to Jane Withers, but Margaret was an actress, and in her adult life, her Oscar was taken home by her maid to polish it. Well, when Margaret tried to contact the maid, the phone was disconnected, so Margaret's Oscar was gone. And she hunted and hunted for it her whole life. And lo and behold, it was found at a flea market. And some gentleman purchased it and sold it to Margaret. So she did get her Oscar back. So keep hunting. You might be lucky like Margaret O'Brien. I was a teacher for many years, and I loved dolls dressed in little school dresses. I love the braids in Margaret's hair. And I just think Margaret, the Margaret face, is just one of the most beautiful faces that Madame Alexander ever produced. The Karen ballerina doll, now the Margaret dolls were first made in 1946, but the Karen ballerina doll was made in 1947, and that was based on Margaret O'Brien, and the Karen ballerina doll was what the first hard plastic doll. This is what I understand. I've tried to do research on it, and I understand that she was one of the first hard plastic dolls, Karen ballerina, based on this Margaret O'Brien beauty. Next up, we have Deanna Durbin. Now, Deanna Durbin was born Edna Mae Durbin. And, you know, she wanted to be a star. So you're maybe nothing wrong with the name Edna Mae, but she came up with the name Deanna Durbin, which was much more star-like. And the alliteration in Deanna Durbin served her well because she was a star as an actress. And these are composition dolls made by Ideal. And I just love the faces on these Deanna Durbin dolls. The open mouth with teeth and the blush on the cheeks. Again, this doll has a little bit of crazing in the eyes, but I couldn't resist her. She's another doll I purchased from an elderly man, and this had been his wife's doll, and he was delighted that I was going to take good care of it and keep it in my collection. I just love the flowered fabric on this outfit, the green buttons and the green velveteen skirt. I just love the Deanna Durbin face. Again, I think the shoes are replaced, but you can't have everything. Another star in my doll collection is this Deanna Durbin doll. She wears her all original gown, flowered gown, and she has her original shoes, this gold metallic shoes. And look, if you can, the socks, isn't this amazing? The socks even have the same color and decoration to match the dress. So just a wonderful example of Deanna Durbin, and she has the pin, 2 definite stars in my doll collection. I just love them. Next up, let's talk a little bit about Scarlett O'Hara. Now, Scarlett O'Hara is a fictional character in the Margaret Mitchell book and movie, Gone with the Wind. And I can really relate to these because when I was in high school, I read Gone with the Wind, and I just loved it. And one of my teachers went on and on. He was so proud of me that I had read such a long book. So when I saw this Scarlett, I just had to have her. Margaret Mitchell originally was going to call Scarlett, the character of Scarlett, Pansy. But I don't know. Scarlett kind of knew her mind. I don't think Pansy would fit her as well as Scarlett O'Hara. Because Scarlett O'Hara was pretty fiery. She wanted the best in husbands, the best in houses, the best in fashion. I just love the gown on this Madame Alexander, Scarlett O'Hara. My favorite color in the whole world is green, and I just love this gown. It makes me think back when I watched the Scarlett O'Hara, the Gone with the Wind movie with my grandma, how excited I was. So a lot of these dolls, I connect back to my childhood. I have always loved vintage things. I've always loved antiques, and I love clothes. And I love vintage clothes. I like dressing up. And so I think part of the reason I'm a doll collector is I can relate to these because I love their outfits so much. So this Scarlett O'Hara is all original. I love even her little green shoes with the bows. She has very intense black hair and fiery eyes. I think Madame Alexander did a great job of showing the intensity of Scarlett O'Hara in this doll. So she is definitely a star in my doll collection. I also have this little Madame Alexander, Scarlett O'Hara. She's not as quite as perfect as her older sister or taller sister here. She has some replaced bow or ribbon on her waist here and some replaced flowers on her hat, but I still like her, and she stands next to her taller sister in the doll cabinet, and these two Scarletts keep each other company. I did forget to say, someone once was looking in my doll room, and this person said, and I will not name the person, said, "That is the scariest thing I've ever seen." And she was referring to this doll. And I actually took offense. It was like she was dissing one of my children. And I know that she, her face color is a little pale with her black hair. But again, she has those fiery eyes, and she shows the Margaret Mitchell character of Scarlett O'Hara very well. As I said, I also collect vintage props and things to display with my dolls. So here is the Scarlett O'Hara game, and it's one of her problems. As we know, Scarlett had lots of problems, and this is a marble game. I never played it, but I might. This might encourage me to play the Scarlett O'Hara Gone with the Wind, One of Her Problems marble game. So those are some Scarlett O'Hara dolls. Now, remember when I told you the story of seeking? Margaret O'Brien sought her Oscar and eventually bought it back from a flea market. I am on the hunt for a Jane Withers doll. Jane Withers was a peer of Shirley Temple, and they were in many films together. And I would really like a Jane Withers doll, a composition one, an early one from the 30s or 40s, but I haven't found one yet in my price points. So I do have the Jane Withers cutouts. I loved playing cutouts with my mom and grandma and aunts and little sisters when I was a little girl. So when I found these cutouts, I just had to get them. They are copyrighted 1940, but I don't know. I keep wondering if they're a reproduction, but I don't think so. I just look at the fashion here and the colors of these paper doll outfits. Just wonderful. So for now, I have the Jane Withers cutout set, and I'm on the hunt for a doll. Also, I was fortunate enough to go to the Theriault's auction when Jane Withers sold her childhood doll collection. And I have this book, the catalog from the auction. It's called Lovingly, the Childhood Doll Collection of Jane Withers. And oh my gosh, the dolls were to die for in Jane Withers' collection. Sadly, because of the prices, Jane Withers was there. She was like the MC. The prices were quite high. This was several years ago when doll prices still were up there, but it was so fun to see Jane Withers and go to this auction. So even though I didn't buy anything, it was delightful. So if you have a Jane Withers doll composition, let me know. Okay. Now, when I organized this presentation, I realized that I don't practice gender equity in my doll room. I didn't have any male celebrity dolls. So my good friend who's in the Fond du Lac Doll Club named Roxanne was kind enough to loan me some of her male celebrity dolls. And these dolls are vinyl. I did not remove them from the box because I wanted them to retain the way Roxanne has stored them all these years. And the first celebrity doll I'd like to talk about is this guy, W.C. Fields. Now, these dolls are made by F&B. And the first F&B Legend series, they made this entire Legend series of stars, political figures, and different things as vinyl dolls. W.C. Fields here was the first one. They made him in honor of his 100th birthday. W.C. Fields was actually named, let me check my notes here. William Claude Dukenfield. So William Claude here didn't think that that was going to serve him well as a star. And by the way, W.C. Fields was an American comedian, actor, and writer, and I guess a big juggler. He was well known in the juggling world. So W.C. here, he took a different name, a little better than William Claude Dukenfield, became W.C. Fields. And just look at the face sculpting on these dolls. I was looking at some photographs of W.C. Fields, and the face sculpting by F&B is just phenomenal. And look at the little accessories, the tie, the fur sleeves on his coat here, the fur sleeves, hat. Again, I didn't want to take it out of the plastic, but just such attention to detail. I love the pants, the wool pants in this tweed. So F&B really did a phenomenal job on the Legends series. Another doll made by F&B in the Legends series was this guy. This is Groucho Marx. And Groucho Marx, I didn't know this about Groucho Marx, but he really, really wanted to become a doctor. And he studied hard as a young boy, but his parents just needed him to help support the family. So at 12 years old, he had to drop out of school. And his mother was also a force here. She wanted her Marx sons to become entertainers. And Groucho Marx started out as a singer, but I guess his singing wasn't too good. And he realized this one day at on the stage, and he started to make jokes about it, and he got a wonderful response from the audience, and so he became more of a comedian. And again, I just love the sculpting on this doll, the F&B doll here of Groucho Marx, the attention to detail with the heavy eyebrows and heavy mustache. He is holding his cigar. I don't know if you can see it, but he's holding his trademark cigar. He has his swallowtail jacket here. Again, the neat striped pants. And all of these dolls do have their original hang tag. And kind of neat, they give history of the F&B Legend series and then history on the star that they're made. So thanks again, Roxanne, for letting me use your boy celebrity dolls. The next doll, and this doll I really connect with because I used to love to watch John Wayne films with my dad. And I was a farm kid, so my dad had some horses, so I could really connect with John Wayne. John Wayne was born Marion Morrison. And again, John Wayne wanted to be a star. And what a star he was. He was in more than 179 films and television series. And he probably thought, I don't know if Marion Morrison is going to make it in the entertainment world. So he changed his name to John Wayne. And I don't know why, but I kind of think John Wayne was always sexy. I probably shouldn't have thought that as a little girl, but I guess he was 13 pounds at birth. So he did grow up into a strong, muscular man. Again, if you look at photographs of John Wayne, the sculpting on these F&B dolls are phenomenal. He has this cowboy outfit here, his scarf, cowboy hat. I think he has his hang tag. And then there's some paperwork here that came with Roxanne's doll. And then who can forget Elvis Presley? Now, I connect with this doll because I remember seeing Elvis on the Ed Sullivan Show, and I also enjoyed, as a teen, the Elvis Presley movies. And Roxanne had two Elvis dolls, but I just thought this outfit was so indicative of Elvis Presley's personality. The black outfit here, and the embellishment, and the insignia, and he just looks like he's ready to dance at a concert, a rock concert. This doll was not made by F&B. This doll was made by a company named Doll World, and on the front of the box it says it was in collaboration with Graceland. So, but a wonderful doll that made on Elvis, who, as we know, was big in the history of rock and roll. Okay, now for some thank yous. First off, I really have to thank Rachel Hoffman. Thank you, Rachel. Rachel, of course, runs Turn of the Century Antiques and is the person behind the Virtual Doll Convention. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, we love dolls. To us, dolls are stars. We shoot for the stars in collecting dolls. And it's so wonderful to be able to share our beloved dolls with people across the United States and across the world. Also, thanks to my husband, who's a wonderful supporter of my doll collection. And he's also the technical and the videographer today. My sister, who is the prop mistress. So thank you to those people. I hope that I can share more dolls down the line with you, more of my collection. And this has just been a pleasure and an honor to be part of the Virtual Doll Convention. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Remember me to Herald Square. Tell all the gang at 42nd Street that I will soon be there. Whisper of how I'm yearning to mingle with that old-time throng. Give my regards to old Broadway and say that I'll be there ere long.